Alright, go like, click, subscribe, do all that. It's Valentine's Day and it's also Netflix time. This was a special one. It's called Squared Love. A celebrity journalist and renowned womanizer starts to rethink his life choices after he falls for a mysterious model who leads a double life. It's one of those Polish comedies that just came out. It's about an hour and 42 minutes long. And this one's spoiler alert to the max, but trust me, you're still gonna wanna watch it anyway. Freaking hilarious. So we got the supermodel here named Miss Monica, sexy, flexy, stunting and all that. And then we got this guy named Enzo with his dog about to get cursed out by his girl Alicia, who in retrospect he actually works for, kind of. So we have Miss Monica driving back to another spot where we find out she's living a double life. She also does teaching as full time. So she's a supermodel by day, teacher by day. I wanted to say night, but it's daytime, okay. You know what I'm saying? So she got billboards popping, so obviously she's a big deal. Well, anyway, bouncing back and forth from these jobs makes her late to class. These kids in there causing a ruckus. This old lady's hilarious. She was subbing for him, but all she does is talk shit and smoke. And the principal's always getting on her about her lateness. It's like, come on, man, you gotta get it together. You know, the exam's coming up. We gotta get this shit popping. So here we got Enzo. You see in the blue car in the background. He's over picking up random ass chicks. So the thing about Enzo is he loves cars and apparently he loves women. Is he a certified G? Is he on that pimp shit? So, you know, he comes off as some type of Hollywood playboy. So he drops off the girl at whatever random location he goes and he's going back to work. Alicia ain't trying to hear none of that dumb shit he got popping off his mouth. The group is trying to come up with the best slogan for a car commercial. You have a scene where he's parking the car, he's making the security guard feel good about herself, so you know that's a plus. So we found out the car doesn't belong to him, he's actually been borrowing these cars. Cause that guy's fussing at me, he's like, make sure you don't get any scratches on it. But then he just ignores him and helps another damsel in distress. So now we have Miss Monica. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. When she's a supermodel, she's Miss Monica, but when she's a teacher, she's Miss Claude. So Miss Claude is here with her dad and they're about to go to their mom's gravesite. They tell some stories about the dad and, you know, the dad's actually a mechanic and I'll explain why Claude is working two jobs at the same time later on. Meanwhile, the production team is getting ready to film their commercial. Now, Claude's not a hooker, but they're legit hookers looking to be picked up to be able to do something to put forth into a commercial. Now, let me ask you this. Look at the background. Look at all these trees here. Does this look like a spot where you think a bunch of cars are going to be rolling past to be like, hey, we're going to stop by and get some hookers? Like, the fuck? Yeah, trust me, it's nothing but trees out there. And how do these other random ass prostitutes get out there anyway? But I'm digressing from the point. So anyway, Enzo ends up picking up Miss Monica, who he doesn't know is Claude. They discuss the commercial, but then the idea comes up saying that they should kiss each other during the commercial. They're reluctant about it at first, but not really all that much because they just go ahead and do it. And she got this look like, damn, he was really kissing me for real like that. Like, that's what it is. And I'm not sure whether she did this on purpose or not. It looks like it, but as she gets out the car, she puts the car in neutral. As they're both standing there, the car is drifting backwards. And it hits something and like dominoes, the whole set starts falling down. So anyway, after all that, she goes to her best friend and she got all her kids. So she know she's not really trying to listen to her problems, but she's there for her. Back at home, Enzo's girlfriend Alicia is pissed the fuck off and the dog's mad too. Why is she so mad at Enzo even though he said they both agreed to an open relationship? Because apparently he was kissing the quote unquote help a little bit longer than expected. So she kicked his ass out. And so the one place he decides to go, he goes to his brother's house. So he's at his brother's house and his brother only allows him to agree to stay if he can watch his daughter for her. Because his brother's wife or girlfriend or whoever she is, she's on a trip on a cruise. And he knows his brother's not good with kids, but he's like, yeah, we'll give it a shot. So meanwhile, Claudia's dad, I think, owes some money to some unpleasant guys. You see these two guys in coats or whatever. And look at the mechanic telling him like, yeah, he's in there. Meanwhile, Enzo goes to the school to pick up Anya, his niece. Like I said earlier, he's not really good with kids like that. Or so we thought. Back at work, everybody's thinking the campaign is a disaster, but somebody thinks otherwise. Alicia is willing to take Enzo back if the campaign goes well. See that? He got roses. He's trying. And she's like, yeah. They saw the photos and all that. Bottom line is, as long as this campaign goes good, then you good. You know what I'm saying? So she's talking to her friend Yahtzee, concerned about the pictures, who is probably the only person that knows she lives a double life. At the time, he was the only person that knew. Then he goes off to work. The best friend comes through, which is his wife, by the way. She talks about how she might actually like Enzo, but she can't fall for him because she thinks he's too much of a playboy. And her friend's like, fuck all that. You just gotta get what's yours, yo. Go get that shit. The principal's like, all right, here you go. You coming in late again. But then he's like, you don't have to hide the truth from me. And she's thinking like, oh no, my secret's been leaked. But the only thing he's talking about is the thugs that came in and roughed up her dad. So she's relieved he didn't find out about the jobs, but then fucked up at the fact that her dad got her ass whipped. So she comes back home to the garage. Dad's drunk off his ass. He's got to come up with a lot of cheese. She threatens to call the police. Dad's like, fuck out of here. We're not doing that shit. The thing is, he don't know that his daughter is doing two jobs. Now, while they talking, the mechanic's over here ear hustling and shit. Now, I thought he already knew who these thugs were, but apparently not, so she's going through background memories, a picture collage. That's her mom in the middle. So because she needs the money for her dad, she officially takes the job with Enzo, doing it full time and whatnot. They all get together to discuss the car commercial business. After all that's done, Enzo's supposed to be watching Anna, but clearly he's just driving around, like, really? But his brother called him to get his head on straight. Now he's at home looking for her, don't know where she is. He asks his elderly lady where she is. Finds out she's at the park with this random ass guy feeding random ass dogs. The lady says she always goes to that park feeding dogs. And the lady knows his real name too, Stefan. So it's like all these people are trying to keep him grounded, you know what I'm saying? Don't forget where he comes from. His name is Enzo on TV, but he's Stefan, like his brother, his niece, and the lady next door. So he is a ground team. They're working with him. Meanwhile, they back at school. Little redhead carrot top lady, yo, she's freaking hilarious. Like I said, all she does is just talk shit and smoke. While she's dressed up like a traffic light, she tells the other ladies that she helped one of the little kids stop with a stuttering problem. And now she's going back to her other job to check in with Enzo at the check-in desk. Enzo pops up the same time as she does, but the thing is she forgets to get her pass back. Now I thought because of that he'd have figured out who this chick is. And if she's trying to hide her identity, how the hell would she forget to pick up her pass after giving it to security? Like, what the fuck? They have a random moment on the steps, and then it's back to work. You could tell Alicia is still feeling some type of way about this chick, honestly. Back at home, Anna's mom sends them pictures of things that they've seen. She sent them a picture of some type of bird that she's seen which going along this cruise, I guess, that she's taking. And this is where we find out in the scene that she actually has an allergy to birds or fish. I think it's a fish allergy, I'm not really sure. So anyway, Enzo takes Anaya to work because he's supposed to be watching her and tells Claude to keep out of sight because obviously Anna will recognize her. Back home, the boss is trying to blackmail her dad and try to get some extra money because he's convinced Claude and Monica are the same person, you know, teacher and supermodel. But he didn't tell me exactly what he knows just yet. Meanwhile, Claudia's going back to school. The principal scolds her on being late again and reminds her that the exams are coming up. Back at home, Enzo tells Anaya a bedtime story, and she changes it around for him every chance she gets. Back at school, Shorty getting in and get that smoke. Now, apparently the kids were supposed to be going on a field trip that he was supposed to pay for, but he forgot. So basically, she scolds him. It's like, dude, you fucked up. But he makes up for it and calls in and gets their own own bus for it. He gets them their own separate bus. I guess they're on like some type of cow farm because they're like sharing milk with each other. Now I ain't gonna lie, this scene was kind of stupid. Remember when I told you she had a fish allergy? Well, apparently she was licking bird seed, which has apparently fish quadricles in it. So that's when she started going into shock. I'm like, you're licking bird seed, really? So Miss Claude comes, saves her life and all that. So obviously Enzo thanks Claudia for saving her life. At the same time, you're thinking to yourself, how could she be so fucking stupid to lick goddamn bird seed that has fish quadricles in it? Or just licking bird seed anyway, period. It's ridiculous. After that, they had fun swinging on swings. So he talks to her about saving money and being with a top-notch girl or something like that. He asks for her advice. And she's thinking in the back of her mind, yeah, you got a shot with me. You just got to stop chasing these hoes. So Enzo sets up a date to meet Miss Monica, a.k.a. Claudia. You got George Lopez over here running a mariachi band. All I do is expect Antonio Banderas to pop out and we got a whole goddamn Desperado movie. Nah, I'm just fucking around. That does look like George Lopez though, doesn't it? Anyway, they have dinner. They cruise around the red drop top. She blindfolds him and takes him to a secret location. But actually, she's really taking him to her dad's mechanic shop. And she shows him her dad's prized possession. Oh, that's one other thing I forgot to mention. Dad could have paid off the mob if he had sold this car. But the thing is, this car's been a fan for generations. He wants, you know, his daughter to get married in it as he did and as his mom did. It's one of those classic Audis. He's mesmerized with it, but mesmerized with her even more. They get it popping right next to the Audi. But he smashed her as Miss Monica, not recognizing that she's also Miss Claudia. Back on the set, they got this big ass kissing scene, which Alicia thinks is going on for way too long. She's suspecting shit. So she goes in the bathroom while Claudia's in the bathroom and starts throwing up like she's pregnant. And then she just flat out tells her that. Got Miss Monica, aka Claudia, all messed up in the head. Now, assuming this, she knows that Enzo and Alicia are together. So you were fine smashing this nigga, but now you're not fine because you realize she's about to have a baby? Like, you still doing your dirt. Like, come on. He's the only one for me type shit. Like, man, get the fuck out of here. Back at the job, this mechanic's being lazy because he knows the deal. He basically tries to blackmail her and tells her, like, look, man, I know who you are. I'll tell your dad that you're doing this on the side if you don't give me some type of money. But she's like, I ain't got time for this shit. Do what you do. Because, I mean, if this nigga owes money to the mob, I'm pretty sure she's not going to give a fuck about him knowing that she's a supermodel. Like, really? All right, let me just speed this up a little bit. She catches feelings for Enzo, even though Enzo doesn't know that Miss Monica's actually Claudia. Alicia's mad because Claudia and Enzo are not at the dress rehearsal yet. She talking about getting drinks. I'm like, wait a minute, ain't you supposed to be pregnant, bitch? Claudia helps a kid out the closet because this nigga pissed on himself. After that, she switched back into her Miss Monica performance so she can go to the show. The rehearsal, I mean. Anna can see that Miss Monica and Claudia are the same person. Alicia and Claudia get into a big fight. Alicia gets her ass whipped. She drinks a whole liter of gin and then comes out and tells people she's not pregnant. She looking like, this bitch done lied. I'll smack her again. This nigga Enzo still trying to figure out if Miss Monica and Claudia are the same person. They end up going for a walk in the rain, and Claudia's still acting all shy around her because he doesn't know that it was Miss Monica he was fucking and not Claudia, but they're both the same person, so she's trying to act like that's not what it is. She gives him a kiss on the cheek and hops on the bus. Back at school the next day, the kids are taking the exams. He's still trying to figure out if Monica and Claudia the same person. And now we're at the Auto Expo, the expense of the commercial. Let's get it. Dad and the mechanic are chilling there, you know what I'm saying? They're getting drinks, but you obviously know the mechanic's intentions. They show off every part of the commercial, booming success and all that. All right, now this part kind of pisses me off. Anya's at this expo. First off, she's the only kid there. It's everybody but grown adults. You got two people watching her, and I don't know if she ate some caviar or something or whatever the fuck happened. Bottom line, she goes into shock again. Enzo and Claudia are helping out without realizing. She brushes her hair back to take off her wig. Yep. And of course, Enzo recognizes it right away. Like, really? Of course, everybody sees her face, the secret exposed after they save her life. The mechanic's trying to escort the dad. Dad's not having none of that. Bangs the shit out of his goofy ass and leaves him laying. Back at school the next day, Grandma's still getting it popping with the smokes. Yeah. The principal finds out about the other job and is about to terminate her. As for Alicia, well, she found herself a prince in charming, or a sidekick, or a thought, or prostitute in training, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Meanwhile, they both go back to visit their mom's grave, and Claudia tells Dad that the debt's been paid off, everything's good. As she gets back out to school, she's ready to clean her desk. Then she sees Enzo out there with the kids, she's all smiling and everything. Meaning he's sticking around. Then we got a bunch of parents saying how good Claudia was doing with their kids in school and stuff like that, and they're petitioning to keep her to stay. But the principal says it all comes down to the test scores. The test scores are good, she can still teach, and she got herself a new boo in the process. So the guy in the blue, that's Enzo's brother, right? The whole time his wife has been on vacation or whatever like that, and then they say, oh, that she's at the door, like, oh, we're finally about to see who she is. But they never showed her face. They talked about it the whole movie, and they ain't show her face. That's some bullshit. She didn't have a whole lot to do with the story, but I was looking forward to it, god damn it. Anyway, they get in their dad's car, they kissing all that, take photos and ride off in the sunset, the end. So there you go, Square Love on Netflix. Check it out. Like, click, and subscribe, do all that, you know what I'm saying? Just spend time with your loved ones, happy Valentine's Day, all that shit. It's your boy Slick DZ, all the Heezy Mister. Big, could have got them slogan.